Aloha, everyone. This is Taylor Hamblin from History Forge. I'm coming today with a new source analysis. Getting away from Pocahontas. The students and I have talked a lot about Native American history, so we're going to be actually moving on to more about Europeans coming over here and meeting Native Americans as well. So we're going to actually move on a little bit. And I actually got the source on here, so again, when I'm doing these videos, I might jump back and forth. Don't be freaked out by me so much. And then I'm also going to jump back and forth with this. I got this already set up for us. It's called Passenger List Analysis Corroboration. Sorry, my email keeps going off too. It's called Passenger List Analysis Corroboration. It is one of the skills that we're going to go over. And actually, I already messed up. It's not corroboration. It is monitoring and questioning. Ha ha ha. So we're going to fix that right now. So it's actually monitoring and questioning. It's an awesome source. Or it's an awesome skill for the kids to learn, and it's really going to help them understand how to create questions. And so if you're a student watching this, it's going to really assist you in trying to figure out a really good question to ask, maybe for research or any other kind of project you're doing, or really anything, including life. So I got this skill right here. It's the number one skill for monitoring and questioning. It's called Created Questions Based on Analysis of the Source. Pretty simple stuff, and I even have it set up for us. I got observations right here. My answer is going to go here. So I'm going to jump back and forth between these two things. I'm going to get my handy dandy colored pen too. I think I'm going to go with green today. Let's test it out. Very nice. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go to this source called Passenger List to the New World. And I'm using CK12 again. It's a really good site if you haven't heard about it. I got the links down below. Feel free to check those out. But I'm going to go ahead and just get started, okay? Let's see. We got, by the 1630s, Englishmen had settled in two main areas in the New World, New England and Virginia. These two regions were very different. New England was settled by Puritan religious dissidents, while Virginian society revolved around growing and selling tobacco. The people living in the two colonies were different as well. Each ship that came to the colonies included a list of passengers and some information about them. The following two passenger lists, one for Massachusetts and one for Virginia, provide an indication of the different types of people who came to the two colonies. So as I'm reading that, I was immediately placed into the time period. We know that we're looking at some of the first English colonists coming over. English were not the only colonists coming over. There are also the Portuguese, the French, the Spanish especially. And really, the English kind of had a late start. They didn't really start exploring until the 1600s, with some of the Puritan colonies being some of the first really well-done ones. And so, like the source said, we have two lists. So we got one that says Passenger List to New England, 1635. We'll go ahead and highlight that. And then I'm going to scroll past to find the other passenger list. This one's called Passenger List to Virginia, 1635. So both are the same. Yeah, both are the same date. That's kind of cool. So both are the same date. That's really actual helpful information for us to know that. And it means that it's very comparable two lists. But like the information said, one list is about Puritans and the other list is about Southern planters. And so the idea would be then, why are they different? And so I just already asked my first question. So I can even come in here and write some questions down. I'm actually going to delete the answer part and just write number one. So I'm going to type in, why were the ship manifests different? A manifest is a list on a ship. It's basically, and even modern day ships have them. So it's basically the captain of the ship or whoever's in charge would have this list of all the people who are on the boat. And you actually can see the passenger manifest. Let me find my mouse. Here we are. Back in here. So this list is a manifest. It has a lot of names. I don't know how many off the bat. It looks like around maybe 30 to 40. And it says right here, Planter to London, Nicholas Trace, Master. She sailed from London April 1635 and arrived at Boston on Sunday, June 7, 1635. So it doesn't really say who this person is, Nicholas Trace. I'm having a hard time saying that name. I don't really know. Maybe it's a person who had the list. It doesn't really say. So sometimes the source information can be helpful, sometimes not. But we do know this is a list for a planter group, it looks like. So we're going to go ahead and start scrolling through. Notice that some of these people don't have their occupation, some do. So like right here, we have a tailor. Here we have a farmer. Here we have another tailor. And if we keep scrolling, yeah, we got more shoemaker, tailor, farmer, weaver, mason. So some actually have group names. The others might not have one because they're young. So for example, Marie and John, they're 4 and 2 years old. So yeah, they're not going to have anything. Let's go back to the top. And again, I'm just kind of looking for anything that kind of jumps out at me. For example, I noticed that the Tuttles are actually mentioned a lot. And now that I've said that, I see a Lawrence. I see another Lawrence. There's 2 Giddens. A big group of Olneys. Olneys, it's a hard word to say. Group of Wilcox. That's interesting. So these are probably families. They're probably families. Probably not just families. They're also most likely mother and father. And children, because notice that like the Tuttles, for example, are 39 and 42 years old, and they have obviously some kids here, and so the ones who don't have actually I just realized now, yeah, it looks like a lot of the kids don't have their careers, but most of the other people do. Of course, Jane Giddens, she's 20, she doesn't have a career, but she's a woman. And there were women who had careers that maybe like a midwife or a seamstress or something, but it was less common, so maybe that's why. So it looks like most of the men have careers. It looks like they're families. They're big families too sometimes. There's very few old people, I just noticed, except for like this person is 65 years old, which makes sense. Like you gotta imagine like the trip going to the New World was like a 2-month long voyage, 2 to 3 month long voyage. And a lot of people died. So, and they knew it too. They knew the trip was a risk. So if you're that age, I don't think most people would have gone. But yeah, one person's 65, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of families still. I don't see any women who have a career. So it looks like only the men have careers. They're listing those off. And yeah, so I guess my observations I can make real fast. We'll say we need to use good sourcing. So we're going to say passenger list to New England, 1635. And then I'm going to go ahead and write, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and write the families. I'm going to be very brief, especially since I'm doing this. I don't want to take people's time too much. So I'm going to say families. I'm going to say many young people. Actually, I'm going to go back to families. I'm going to write large families. I'm going to say men had careers listed. There were women too, but none had careers listed. So then next I could maybe say like wives, because there are probably women who just were marrying husbands and going with them. Let's see, what else did we say? I think that's pretty much it. I'm seeing, again, there's a lot of young men, a lot of families. I think it's really all you can get from this. I guess I could also say at the very beginning I did say there are 30 to 40 people on the list. You guys can actually count and actually tell me the real answer because I have no idea. I'm not going to count. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to have that matter. But yeah, no, these are my kind of brief observations. And so far, my question is, why were the ship manifests different? I could ask something like, why were only men given a career? I could ask, why were there so many young people, such as children, going to the New England colonies? I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. So again, I've asked 3 questions actually. I haven't even analyzed the second one yet. So let's go down to the second one real fast. We're about 9 minutes. I want to keep moving along. So we got a new list. This one's called Passenger List to Virginia, 1635. So I'm actually going to make a new list. I'm just going to cheat real quick. I'm going to copy and paste things and just change words. So Passenger List to Virginia, 1635, same thing. And I'm going to make the same list for questions. I'm not going to make a different one. But yeah, I got Passenger List to 1635. So looking at this, we got list of passengers on the ship America from London, England to Chesapeake, Virginia. So this one's going to Chesapeake, not New England. So I can make that observation, going to Chesapeake, not New England. And Chesapeake would have been a more southern place, so probably better for planting. I'm guessing this is going to be about farmers. Let's see, we got 23rd June, 1635. The underwritten names are to be transported to Virginia, embarked in the America. Willem Barker, Mr. P.R. Cert, I don't know what that means, from the minister of the town of Bravesend of their conformity to the orders and discipline of the Church of England. So I think this is probably the guy who runs the show. Maybe his name's in here someplace. I can Control F and find out real fast. So we got Barker. I probably should spell it right first, huh? We got Barker. We got a Henry Barker, which I think is actually a name for William, but he's 18, so I don't actually think he's in here. So I don't know. Maybe it's a different guy. Who knows? But let's just go to the list. And off the bat, I'm noticing no careers. There is not a single career on this list. And they've actually grouped women in a different list. So women and men are in two different lists. There's no careers mentioned. That's something different. I need to get rid of... Oh, shoot. Sorry. All right, here we go. So these are all men, and they're all in the 20s pretty much. Or they're all like young men. Yeah, like they're all young men. Yeah, they're all in their like late teens, 20s. Some people are in their 30s. I don't see a single person in their 40s yet. Oh, there's one. One man in his 40s. Here's some younger kids, the Parsons. Do they have a dad or a mom? I don't see any Parsons anywhere. Yeah, that's interesting. So, So two young boys looks like went by themselves. A 16-year-old, a 12-year-old. So a lot of younger, like God, yeah, an 8-year-old. I don't see any last names either. Crazy. All right, so young men. Oh, here's a 54-year-old. Here's an older guy. And then down we have other names. These are women, and they're all also very young. Wow, one of their names is Death. That's kind of creepy. But yeah, a mother and a child. I don't think there are any other deaths in the list. I think I would have noticed that. So the fact that a woman and child was going by themselves most likely means her husband was either dead or she was running away from him. We have a Remington that's spelt different. We have some Bakers. Okay, so women tend to be in families. They have more. So women have more families than men. And again, they're all kind of younger, but they're mostly adult women. Wow, what a different list. So let's go back into our observations. A very different list. There are less women, and they tend to be, I don't know, we'll say sisters probably, or mother and daughter. And then I'll do in parentheses, not related to any of the men on the list. The men were mostly young. There was only one man in his 40s and another in his 60s. No occupations were listed. And so the question is, why? Why are these things so different? And not only that, I know these guys are going to Virginia, so I could even ask a more detailed question. Why were young men and women going to Virginia without families? That's a pretty fair question, I think. Why were more young men going to Virginia than women? Like, what were they going to plan on doing? Why did the young men not have job titles when going to Virginia? So I just asked 6 questions. Like, I think if I was doing this for students, I would just recommend, like, try to get them to write 2 or 3. But, that's 6. And I think this really does show you, like, how we can just look at a group of numbers, like, how old people are and their names, and compare and contrast 2 things and try to figure things out. And so CKTL does have more activities we could do. We're not going to personally do them right here, right now, but this is kind of just shows you like how you can ask questions. I think questions are always best when you make observations first, because otherwise you're just staring at a bunch of random nothingness. Like, you need to make observations, Because then when you go back, you can compare your observations together and be like, oh yeah, that's different. Why? And then it's easy. It's super easy to ask a why question when you have two things to compare and contrast to. So I think that'll be it. That takes care of all of this, I think. Let's see. We created questions based on the analysis of the source. We actually used two sources. And yeah, that was it. That was our third skill, asking questions. And I think we'll come back next time with another skill. So thanks for stopping by. If you're a student, please feel free to ask your teachers questions. If you're one of my students, ask me a question. If you're a teacher and you like this method, please send me information. And I'll put on information down in the not in the comments, but in the description of the video. So hopefully see you next time. Take care.